Okay. Yeah. So guys, let's actually start our session. Okay. Yesterday we have actually discussed about the network protocols, isn't it? So we've discussed what is a network protocol and what are the types of network protocol, and we've also defined each of these network protocols, and then we've tried to explain the very important ones that are there in those network protocols, isn't it? So we had this particular what is mean by network protocol. I'm just trying to give a small brief about yesterday, because there's a little a topic which would seem a little confusing. That's it. Okay, that's the reason why I'm trying to give a little brief. So what is a network protocol? It is an accepted set of rules that governs data communication between different devices. Okay, so that is a very important definition of the network protocol. And then this network protocols can actually be divided into three different categories, three major categories. They are communication, management, and security. And what is a communication protocol? It would actually allow the communication to happen between this different systems, different computers, whether they are on different operating systems, different kind of softwares, any of those. It would still allow the communication between the different systems using this particular communication protocol. And what is a management protocol? It would maintain and manage the computer network. This protocol would assist and maintain the and manage the uh, network. Okay, the computer network. And security protocol would actually provide the security for all the management as well as communication protocols. Okay, so these are the different types of protocols that are available. And guys, what are the examples of communication protocol? The IP and TCP. Okay, IP protocol and TCP protocol are the examples of communication protocol. There is one more very important thing that is called as HTTP. Okay, now what is IP? This is internet protocol. And what is TCP? This is transfer control protocol. Okay, I'm sorry. So what you would do is, in order to route the data packets through internet, you would use this particular IP, and you would have this particular TCP in order to do a reliable stream of this particular packets. Okay, so this is the IP and TCP. And guys, most of the protocols are on top of this particular IP and TCP. Okay, so we have this particular HTTP protocol. This HTTP protocol also uses the TCP/IP protocol. Okay, so HTTP is a protocol which is based on IP and TCP. Okay, these are the base protocols that would support any other most of the other protocols. Okay, so the HTTP also will be supported by the TCP/IP. Okay, now what is HTTP? Yes, guys, what is HTTP?
Package transfer protocol.
Hypertext transfer protocol. Okay, this is designed in order to transfer the hypertext between two or more systems. All right, so this is mostly based upon the client server model, and most of the data sharing over the web is done through HTTP. So guys, this is the most important protocol that is available. Okay, clear about it, guys? This is the most important protocol that is there. So our course also mostly depends upon the HTTP protocol. Okay, we'll touch base upon the other protocols, but then this is the one which we would cover mostly in the course. What is the reason? Because this particular protocol would actually ensure that most of the applications that are available in the web are covered by this. And these days, guys, all the applications that are being developed, they are actually developing in the at least the front end, they're actually trying to develop in the HTTP. Whether you call it a SAP, Salesforce, any kind of application that you are using in the back end, whatever the kind of technology that that they're having, they're actually using on the front end. They're actually trying to use HTTP protocol in order to go ahead. Okay. And what is the UDP protocol, guys? the UDP yesterday we did not discuss, but this is not very important, guys. This is not something that is very important. It is pretty unreliable protocol because it's a connectionless protocol. It does not very much depend upon the TCP. Okay. What would happen is this is used for broadcasting messages which are not which need not be reliable. Okay. Now let's say I want to tell everyone that tomorrow there is class. Should that communication be reliable or not reliable? Everybody should receive the message, right? Yes, guys,
Yes.
you should receive the message because that is something that is really important. Okay, whether there is class, there is no class, whether the class times have changed, all that is very very important information for everyone in order to join the session, right? But then if there is some communication, if I want to send a joke, okay, does that need to be a reliable communication? Need not be, isn't it? So those kind of things you can rely on UDP protocol. But if I want to ensure that there is a class and all that things, you have to use the other protocols which are more reliable. Okay, guys, nobody uses the UDP protocol. It is only used in some of the companies in order to just broadcast and multicast the messages. But I don't think there is any company which is actually using a UDP protocol. Okay, clear about it, guys? And then you have the some examples of management protocol. Some of the famous examples are FTP and SNMP. So FTP is a file transfer protocol, guys. Again, if you see the FTP, we are actually talking about this FTP in the IP as well. Okay, in the IP as well. Oh, sorry, in the TCP as well. We are actually talking about FTP. As I said, this TCP IP is the one which is the base protocol for multiple other protocols. Okay, so the FTP actually falls under the management protocol. All right, so this is FTP, and SNMP is also there, which is actually used mostly for the monitoring of this particular different servers. And then you have security protocols, the SSL, HTTPS. These are the main examples of security protocol. Okay, so guys, this is a small recap of, and we also spoke about the encryption. This is a small recap of what we have actually done yesterday. Okay, guys, again, this might seem a little confusing, but then, guys, this is not rocket science. We can very easily understand this, and we would again repeat this when we are actually talking about this load runner. We have a little more discussion, and a few of these things, guys, even if you just by heart and you just blurt out in the interviews, that still should be fine. But then you have to understand a few things very very carefully. What is HTTP and what is the base definition of a protocol is something that is very very important, and you cannot escape those. Okay, clear about that, guys? Yes, guys.
Yes, Shyam.
Okay, any questions before I go ahead? Any questions?
Some there is a one protocol is through client protocol. Is it
Yes. So what is a true client protocol?
don't
Yes, guys, what is a true client protocol? I will talk about this at the end of the session, or let me just talk about it. Okay, so what would happen is when I'm actually trying to do the testing, what would happen is all my testing would be based upon the request responses that are happening over the HTTP. Okay, all the testing would happen based upon the request responses that are happening over the HTTP. Okay, but then, guys, I would not be able to particularly capture what is happening on the browser or on the client. Okay, whatever is happening on the client, I would not actually be able to understand that exactly in the performance testing. So in order to get that done, we would actually use this particular true client protocol. Okay, I would talk more about it once we are, once we actually start the load runner session. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Any other questions, guys? All right. Let's actually talk about, yeah, the three-way handshake. Okay. Let's actually talk about the three-way handshake. So guys, what would happen in a three-way handshake? Okay. So this three-way handshake mainly happens in the TCP. As we said, the TCP is transmission control protocol. And what it would do is this transmission control protocol, whatever the transmission of data that it does, it would do it in a very reliable way. And how does that ensure that it is a reliable way? Yes, guys? How does it ensure that it happens in a reliable way? Because it actually uses this particular three-way handshake. Okay? It uses this particular three-way handshake. And what is this three-way handshake? What is this three-way handshake? The client would, when it is actually trying to send a request to the server, okay, the client, when it is actually trying to send a request to the server, what would happen? It would actually send out a request, and along with that there is a sync request that would go on. And when the server is responding initially, guys, not with the complete response, the moment it gets a request, the server would respond with this sync slash acknowledgement response. Okay. And then the client also sends out an acknowledgement. Okay. Once this particular, all these three things happen, that would establish a three-way handshake. Okay. And then there would be a connection that would be open between this particular client and the server, which would actually enable the communication. Okay. Which would actually enable the communication. Now, what is this particular three-way handshake? What is the sync? What is the sync plus acknowledgement? And what is this acknowledgement? This is what we are going to discuss now. And guys, again, this is the basic that would happen. So don't worry too much if you do not understand this. Just remember the term three-way handshake. Okay, just remember the term three-way handshake. Is that clear? And what is sync? In the first step, the client wants to establish a connection to the server. So what it would do, it would send a segment of synchronized sequence number. What is SYN? It is synchronized sequence number, which informs the server that the client is likely to start communication with what sequence number it starts the segments with. Okay, it would just send out a communication to the server saying that, okay, I'm going to start the communication. Okay, and this is the sequence number that I'm going to use. All right, and the server in turn sends out a sync plus acknowledgement. What does that mean? It would mainly send out an acknowledgement saying that, okay, you know what, I got your sync message, and I'm ready to start a communication with you with this particular sequence number, whatever that you have mentioned with. Okay, and the client in turn sends out an acknowledgement saying that, all right, I got your acknowledgement, and now let me start the communication. Okay, this is what is the first step that would happen. Okay, clear about it, guys? Yes, guys.
No, sure.
I'm sorry, was that a yes or no?
No.
No. Okay. So guys, please don't worry too much about it. Okay, there is this might seem a little confusing, but it is pretty simple. We will again respond on this. We will again talk about this. But then let me try to give you a little more understanding. Okay, so let's say this browser is actually sending out a request to the application. Okay, normally what we would do, we would actually take this particular browser, we enter the URL in the URL bar, and we just send out a request, and we get a response, right? Now that is all that we are actually expecting, isn't it? But then guys, what would internally happen, that is what I'm trying to tell you with this particular three-way handshake. Okay, what is going to internally happen? just immediately after you enter the URL in the URL bar, what would happen? That is what I'm trying to explain. Okay, clear about it, guys? Now, what would happen? The moment I enter the URL in the URL bar, what would happen? Yes, guys? Sorry. It would it would
Opens,
uh, it
open.
would get the IP address from the DNS, and once it gets the IP address from the DNS, it would not send out a request immediately to the to this particular application. What it would do, it would actually try to first establish a connection to this particular application. Okay, and how would that connection be established? Using this particular three-way handshake. Okay, so using this particular three-way handshake, there would be a connection that would be established to start with. Okay, so the browser, it would actually send out a sync request, the synchronization request. Okay, and once the browser sends a synchronization request to the application would actually send out a sync plus acknowledgement response, saying that, okay, I got your sync request, and I'm okay to start responding to you. Okay, and the browser in turn sends out an acknowledgement saying that, okay, I got your acknowledgement application, now let me start sending the request to you. Okay,
Yes, sir.
is that a little bit more clear, guys?
Yes. So when we are working with the HTTP protocol, so this three-way handshake is also that.
Exactly, this three-way handshake also would happen. Not only HTTP protocol, guys, any
That is
protocol that would be based upon the TCP. Okay, and most of the protocols today that we are working with are based upon the TCP. Okay, and guys, nobody would ask you in the interviews, but this is something that I want to teach in my session, so that when you are going into the actual job, and when you are actually working with the clients and everyone, you would actually not be surprised if you are getting into deep performance engineering. You would not be surprised to actually see this kind of terminology. Okay, you have already gone through this in the session, and you would at least have a high level knowledge of what exactly is happening. And at that point, you would actually be able to do a little more research, and you would actually be able to get the information. Okay, and at that point, I would be happy to interact with you, and I would be happy to give you any further knowledge at that point, guys. Okay, but in the interviews, the maximum that you would go to is a three-way handshake, and probably, especially this would happen only for the experienced guys. They might actually ask you only about what are the three steps in the three-way handshake. Okay, clear, guys? Yes, guys.
yes, sir. So when we are working with developer mode, so there is the application number or the request which we are sending. So this is the way handshake will be.
Yes. Okay.
There is a client ID, application ID, something.
I'm sorry. I think I kind of missed that. Can you repeat that?
The client ID, the application ID. When we are working with the developer tools, so there is a list of something request which we are sending.
Okay, that's a completely different topic. We would talk about that, but that's a completely different topic.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, uh, I would be happy to answer that, but I don't want to go away from the flow. It would confuse everyone.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Shyam, Murthy here.
Yeah, Murthy.
For this thing, can we have an example of WhatsApp? Because we'll send a message and we'll get the acknowledgement and we'll get the response.
No. That's a different thing. That's a good analogy actually, but that's completely different way of communication. So when we send a message in WhatsApp, what would happen is you would first see one tick, which would say the message has been received by the WhatsApp server.
Yes, yes.
If you see two ticks, it would say the message has actually been received by the device that you are trying to send this particular request to.
Yes, yes.
Right. And then if you see three ticks, then sorry, if you say two blue ticks, that would
Notice,
say
yeah.
the user
Same.
has actually seen this particular message.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
WhatsApp has actually tried to steal this particular concept. Okay, they actually copied this particular concept of three-way handshake, and they've actually put it over there. But then that is not exactly the same scenario, guys. Okay, the people who are really conversant with this are actually able to make that particular connection, that WhatsApp has actually tried to copy this particular concept over there, but then that's not exactly the same scenario. Okay, so when you try to send a request to the in the WhatsApp, initially even before the message goes, there would be a connection that would try to be established. It would try to establish a connection between the WhatsApp server and your phone. Okay, that is the connection that we are actually talking about over here. Okay, but you were very fast to cache that particular analogy. Good. Okay, you get my point, right? Even before it sends the message, it is actually trying to make a connection to the WhatsApp server, and that is what is the three-way handshake that we are talking about over here. Your single tick, double tick, and your blue ticks would come after the message has been sent. Okay.
Okay, Shyam, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. Is that clear? Can we go ahead?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. Now, guys, when yesterday we also talked about this particular not yesterday, but before I think before that we also talked about this particular get method and post method, and how you are actually sending this particular request in whether it is in get method or post method and all that, right? Yes, guys.
Yes, sure.
Who would want to
Yes.
tell me what is a get method?
Get method is sending the request to the server.
Uh-huh.
Get method is sending the request to the server. Has a limitation of the sending the particular request to the server.
Sending so many number of characters to the server. Okay. You cannot send unlimited amount of data in the get request, but whereas in the post request you can send any amount of data,
Unlimited of
unlimited amount of data, right? And in the get request, whatever the data that you are actually trying to send, that would be visible in the URL bar. Okay. Or in order to put it in the technical terms, the request that you are actually sending to the server would be sent in the header of the request, but whereas in the post request it would be sent in the body of the request. Okay, it would not be visible in the URL bar. That is a get request and the post request, right? Got it, guys? Guys, I would be sharing an assessment. Okay, there would be all these questions that would be there. Please be careful, guys. And uh, just because the assessment is in the work from home mode, please do not cheat. All right, please do not just kind of Google it and try to enter the answers. Okay, ensure that you properly do the assessment as if you are actually doing some kind of interview, or you are doing some kind of test, because that is a true assessment of your knowledge, guys. Okay, that is a true assessment of your knowledge, and that would actually give you the understanding whether you have understood the concepts or not. If you have not understood the concepts, then you can always go back and review the videos and everything, and you can actually try to get the information again. Okay, or you can ask me questions like, what exactly is happening over here, why what is the concept that I did not understand properly. We can always discuss that, probably one to one, or if multiple people do not understand that, we can do it as a group. Okay, but then if you do not understand the session and if you just cheat, you're cheating yourself, not anyone else. Okay. Clear about it, guys?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Now, guys, you are actually sending out a request in one of the methods, get method, post method, header. There are a lot of methods that are there, right? The get and post are the mostly used methods, but whereas there are also these other types of methods which can also be used. Anyways, now coming to the point, you send out a request in that particular method. Okay, whatever the method that you choose, you send out that particular request over there. Now, once you send out the request, you also should get a response from the server, right? You also should get a response from the server. For example, I actually send, google.com or whatever in this particular request. Now, what would happen? I would actually get a response from the server, the home page. Okay, and along with the home page, guys, what would happen is I would also see that there is a status code, response status code that is actually coming in from the application, which would say whether this particular request is a pass or fail. Okay, there is a response status code that would actually come from the server, which would say whether that particular response is a pass or fail for this particular request. Okay, yes, guys, is that clear? For example, you give an assessment. What would I do? I would actually give you the grading, isn't it? I would give you a grading. I would say, okay, you got a A, you got a B, you got a C, or you got an F. What does that mean? Yes, guys. What does that mean?
Response of pass or fail.
Response
Also,
of
we
pass
will
or
get
fail,
it.
or response of whether you have done well or you have to improve, or you have done a few questions right, few questions wrong, or whatever, or you are completely failed, isn't it? Yes, guys. So similarly, whatever the request that you send, that particular request, it would get a status code along with the detailed response. It would first get a status code, which we call it as response status code. Okay, guys, this is the very very important question in the interviews, guys. They would just casually ask you, do you know what is HTTP 401? Okay, and if you are not able to understand, if you are not able to answer that question, that would be kind of a red mark. Okay, so guys, this is something that you have to by heart. Remember the tables, guys. 2 ones are 2, 2, 2 twos are 4. We used to by heart them, isn't it? Yes, guys.
Yes.
Similarly, you have to
Yes.
by heart this. You have to by heart this response codes. Okay, so I'll tell you whatever are the important response codes, guys. There are several things, but whatever are important response codes, I would actually tell you. And those response codes, if you by heart, that should be sufficient. Okay, clear, guys? So
Yes.
what is this particular HTTP response status codes? These are the 3-digit codes issued by a server in response to a request from a client. Okay, along with the actual response, you would actually get this particular 3-digit response code. Okay, these status codes serve as a means of quick and concise communication on how the server worked on and responded to the client's request. Okay, clear about it, guys? Yes, guys. The server would tell you, okay, you have a good request, I'll send you the response. Or, this is a stupid request. Please fix your request. Okay. Or, you know what, I'm not the right place to get this particular request. Please send it to, this particular URL. Probably that guy would respond. Okay. Something like that. It would actually send this 3-digit response code. Okay. So on this 3-digit of HTTP status code, the first digit defines the category of the status code, whether it is a success, whether it is a failure, whether it is a redirection or anything like that. It would send the category of this particular response code. And there are 5 different categories of this particular HTTP status code. Okay, clear, guys? Yes, guys. 1xx, 2xx, 3xx, 4xx, and 5xx. Okay, there are what is this xx? Xx can be replaced by some number, but one is the specific category. Okay, one is the specific category and 2 is the specific category, something like that. Okay, so guys, 1xx is informational code. Okay, it is informational code. All right, so what it would do is it would just say that the this particular request has been received, and it has been understood, and the processing continues. Guys, it is very rare that we actually use this particular 1xx status codes. Very, very rare. Okay, we use so we can actually ignore this particular 1xx status codes, apart from remembering that it is just an informational code. Okay, clear about that, guys? But from 2xx, these are a little important. Okay, 2xx is a success code. That is, it actually received the request, and it is understood, and it is accepted. Okay, clear, guys? That means it's a pass request and you are going to get a response, whatever the response is, right? 3xx is, it's a redirection. What does that mean? Okay, you asked me a question, something like, Shyam, can you please tell me what is the fees for this particular JMeter patch? I don't know. Please talk to Pawan. Right? What does that mean? I'm redirecting your request to somebody else. Right? So that is 3xx status code. Okay? Yes, guys. If you are redirecting, that is a 3xx status code. And then you have the Muhammad Kaja. Sorry. And then you have the 4xx. What is 4xx? Whatever the request that you are sending, that is not correct. Right? Your request itself has a problem. Right? So that is a 4xx status code. Okay. And what is 5xx? Something is wrong with the server, and the server is not able to process your request. That is the 5xx status code. Clear, guys? It's very, very simple. 1xx is just informational. 2xx is success, pass. 3xx is redirection. I'm not the right person. Go talk to someone else. Okay, and it would specify who that someone else is. 4xx is, you know what? You sent out a bad request. This is not the right request. And 5xx is the server is not able to respond to your request. Either it is temporary or permanent, whatever it is not able to respond to your request, and you have to wait. Okay, is that clear? Yes, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, what is this particular 2xx status code? Okay, guys, there are several things. Okay, 200, 201, 202. If you actually Google HTTP status codes, you would actually be able to see that there are several status codes. But I'm only going to tell you what are the important ones. Okay, what are the important ones I'm going to tell you, and you got to by heart this, just like your tables, just like your multiplication tables. Okay, 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, 3 ones are 2, 3 ones are 3, 3 twos are 6, like that. You would actually have to by heart them. No choice. Okay. So 200. Okay. What does that mean? The status code indicates that the request has succeeded and you would actually get a response. Don't worry about it. Okay. And 204, no content. That means the request has succeeded, but you're not going to get a response. Okay. Because it does not need to return a body. Your request has been accepted. Got it? Yes, guys. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And guys, in the interviews, what would happen? They would only ask you, what is HTTP 200? It would say, you have to say the status okay, and you have also got a response for that particular request. Okay, and guys, In the 3xx series, there are all this status codes. Okay, and guys, in this 3xx, the most important one is the 302. Okay, the other ones also, just remember them. It is pretty easy to remember them, guys. 301 is moved permanently. Okay, there is a permanent URL. This request is going to be captured by this URL going forward. Okay, so that is what is a 301 moved permanently. All right, and 302 found is 302 found is it is temporarily moved to this particular temporary URI. Okay, clear, guys? And 303C other is this particular status code indicates that the redirects don't link to the newly updated resources. So you got to see the other resources. Okay. Actually, don't worry about the 303. It is hardly used. I don't know why I put it in there. Yesterday I was in a different mood and I just put something. So just don't worry about 303. Okay. 304 not modified. That means, what does that mean? What does that mean? 304 not modified.
No need to transmit the request.
Resources again. What does that mean? So you already sent out a request to that particular server, and you got a response. Now you are sending the same request again. The server would say, you know what? I've already sent you a response, right? That is still valid. Can you give me an example of this? Can you give me an
Yes.
example of this?
Coupon,
Yes.
coupon code, promo code.
Or can you give me a simpler example? Let me give you a simpler example. Emails. Emails. When you access an email, when you are expecting an email, what would happen? You would actually try to refresh, right? You would actually try to refresh. Let me show you. Sorry. Okay. What I would do? I would actually try to refresh. Now, once the server receives the refresh request, what it would do? It would say, whatever the response that I have already sent you before, that is still valid. Okay, nothing is modified. You did not get any new emails. Okay, that is what is the 304. Okay, is that clear, guys? Yes, guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And 307, it is a temporary redirect. That the status code indicates that the resource has been temporarily moved to a different URI. Okay, and 308 is permanent redirect. Okay, guys, in this, please remember that the 301 and 302 are the most important, and 304. Okay, the other ones, don't worry too much about it. Okay, clear, guys? And then, guys, the most important ones, the 4xx series. Usually, the redirection success criteria, all that, we can work with. But when there is an error, that is when, you are most interested in, right? So the client error codes. I told you, right? What is 4xx? You sent out a bad request. Go fix your request to start with. Okay. So 400 is a bad request. Indicates that the server cannot process the request due to an error on the client side. You have not sent it properly. Probably you did not, put the right URL. You did not enter the right data. For example, in the name field, you have started entering numbers or special characters in the name field, or in the salary field, you started entering some characters, something like that. Okay, you are trying to send some data that is not relevant, and the server cannot accept this particular request. That is the client side error code. Okay, and that is a bad request, and it would not be able to process this particular request. That is the 400 bad request. Okay, 401 is unauthorized. What do you mean by unauthorized? You're not authorized to
Authorized.
access this particular resource. Okay, you're not authorized to access this particular resource. For example, once your demo sessions are done, I would start giving you assessments, and I would only talk to the people who have actually registered, isn't it? If somebody has not registered and they're actually trying to ask me some questions, then what would I do? I would ask them to join some next demo batch, isn't it? I cannot sit and keep answering all the questions, isn't it? So what I would do, I would say, hey, you know what? Please join the next demo batch. We can actually talk in a very detailed fashion over there in the next demo batch, right? So if somebody is unauthorized, we would restrict them from accessing the resources. That is 401 unauthorized. Okay, clear about it, guys? Yes, guys.
Yes, Shyam. Yeah.
Okay, and 403 forbidden is also very, very similar to 401 unauthorized, guys. But when you get a 403 forbidden response, that means that you can never access this particular request. You can never kind of send out this request, and you are forever forbidden with that. Okay, it is used in a in a rare case scenario, but it can be used. Okay, clear about it, guys? These are the important status codes, client error codes, guys. Okay, and then guys, you have I'm sorry, I forgot. 404 not found is also one more very, very important one. Okay, so what is this particular 404 not found? At this particular point of time, whatever the request that you have sent, it is not actually able to find that particular resource in order to serve that particular request. Okay, right? The status code indicates that the server can't find anything matching the request URI. If the server knows that the resource is permanently removed, then it would actually give a 410 response. Okay. Yes, guys. 404 not found is another very, very important client error status code. Okay. And 414 is URI too long. You've entered some junk characters into the URI. The server is not expecting that, and it cannot process that. Not very important, but just good to remember. And 415 is unsupported media type. Right. And guys, these are the server-side errors. What are the server-side errors? You have sent out a request, but at this time, the server is not available. Okay. For example, you have everything right. You are sending, you are paid up, you have attended all the demo sessions, and you have a genuine doubt in scripting. You have actually sent it to me, but then at that particular point of time, I'm really swamped in some office meeting or something that is going on, that I cannot come out of that and answer your question immediately. Okay. In that case, what would happen? I would respond to you once I'm free, isn't it? But the server, when you actually send out a request to the server, you are actually waiting for the response immediately, right? In this case, it cannot wait for so much time, right? So what would happen? It would if the server is swamped with something else, then it would actually present the server side errors. What are these different server side errors? Those are represented over here. What is the 500 internal server error? This is the most important one, guys. This is the most important one, 500 internal server error. You would actually see a lot of this coming in, not only in the interviews, but you would also be facing it in the real time. Okay, what would happen is, if you are actually doing a stress test, or if you are actually doing a spike test, you might actually see this particular 500 internal server error. What is the stress test, guys?
Uploading
Yes,
the
guys.
uploading the specific application.
You are trying to stress out the application, either by putting in too much load, than whatever is required, you are actually putting in too much load, or you are actually cutting down on resources of the server. Okay, whatever it is, you are actually trying to stress out on the server. And when you stress out the server, what would happen? The server might not actually be able to get that be able to serve all the requests, and it would start throwing out 500 internal server errors. Okay, indicates that the server encountered an unexpected condition which prevented it from fulfilling the request. Okay, clear guys? Yes guys.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then 501 is not implemented. Okay, what is this not implemented? This
So,
server code means that the server does not support the functionality required to fulfill the request. Okay, for example, you come and ask me about the some security testing questions. Would I be able to answer? No, because I'm not a fulfilled security tester. Yes, I have a little interest, I have a little knowledge on that, but that's about it. That's only as my hobby, right? I cannot answer your your deep security testing questions. No. If you are asking me about some hacking, no, I cannot answer that, right? Because that's not where my expertise is. My expertise is in performance testing, right? You ask me anything about performance testing, I can answer, but probably most of the things, not anything, but most of the things. But if you ask me about some manual testing, about some automation testing, about Selenium, I might not be able to answer. Okay, so if you are asking the server for a functionality which is not implemented, in that case, you would actually get 501 not implemented. Okay, clear about it, guys? Yes, guys. Guys, are you able to understand?
yes, yes,
Shyam,
yes.
okay,
Yes,
yeah.
Shyam.
Yeah. Somebody was trying to ask a question.
Yeah, Shyam, difference between 500 and 501.
500 is when you are actually when the server is swamped with the request, and it is not able to respond to you at the present time. It would actually give you a 500 internal server error.
Okay.
Okay, or maybe whatever the request that you have sent, maybe as the request might be correct, but the code is not able to process the data in that particular request. There is something, some exception that happened, and the code is not able to handle that.
Okay.
Okay, and you're actually getting a 500 internal server error. Okay, something happened that the server is not, if the server is not able to respond to your request, it would actually come up with 500 internal server error. Okay,
Okay.
but 501 is the functionality is not even there in the server. You're asking the server to give something that it does not have a clue what it is about.
Okay.
Maybe it is going to be in future, it is going to be implemented. Okay, but then right now there is no such functionality, so that is what is not implemented. Okay,
Yeah.
and what is 502 bad gateway? If the server is acting as a gateway or a proxy, and it is actually getting an invalid response from the upstream server, then it is actually coming up as a 502 bad gateway. Okay, don't worry too much about this, guys. We'll talk a little bit more about this afterwards. We need to have a few more concepts in order to understand this, but try to remember this. All right, 503 service available, unavailable is this particular service is presently not available. It mostly is a temporary condition. Okay, it mostly is a temporary condition. You have come to the right place, but it mostly is a temporary condition. Okay, clear about this, guys? The 504 gateway timeout is similar to 502 bad gateway. We'll actually talk about this a little later, but at the gateway, if the request is timing out, that is a gateway timeout, right? So guys, please remember, please ensure to, whatever that I have said that they are important, please ensure to by heart those. Okay, 200, 204, 301, 302, 304, 400, 401, 403, and 404 and 500, 501 and 503. Okay, these are the most important things. I hardly gave you some 10 HTTP response codes, right? Yes, guys. I gave you some around 10 HTTP response codes that you have to by heart. Okay, so please by heart them and ensure that you are you have that particular knowledge. And guys, this response codes, I would ask you individually. I might actually point you out and I might actually ask you at any point of time. Okay, during the course, I would ask you at any point of time. You should be able to answer that. Okay, even if somebody wakes you up in the middle of the night and asks you for this particular HTTP response status code, you should be able to answer that. Okay, yes, guys.
Yes, sure.
So that is about the HTTP status codes, guys. HTTP response status codes. Okay, so guys, what would happen when looks like the JMeter batches have started joining, but just to give you a brief about what has actually happened. When we are actually sending out this particular request, we send it out in some particular methods, get method, post method, or anything like that. Okay, now once you send out that particular request along with the response, you would actually get a response code. Okay, whether it is pass, fail, or why it is failed, whether it is whether it is a proper request that you have sent or whether you have sent an improper request, all that you would actually be able to get a response code. And that response code can be categorized mainly into 5 categories: 1xx, 2xx, 3xx, 4xx, and 5xx. Okay, 1xx is informational, 2xx is success, 3xx is redirection, 4xx is client side error, 5xx is server side error. Okay, and we've discussed the important response status codes of all this. Okay, clear about this, guys? Any questions? Looks like Pawan still did not join, so until he joins, maybe we can actually cover the questions even though the time is up. Yes, guys, any questions?
Those-
All right, guys. So tomorrow what we would do is we would actually start the session of uh, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday, so we'll actually do it on Monday. Okay. What would we do on Monday? We would actually go through a little bit about the developer tools. Okay, we'll go through a little bit about the developer tools. All right. So what is developer tools? In order to see how this particular request is going on, okay, in order to see how this particular request is going on, you would actually be able to see that in the developer tools. All right, so how to do that and all, we'll actually see that on the Monday. Okay, and then guys, the demo sessions would be complete and we would actually have to go with the load runner. Okay,
Shyam,
clear,
I
guys?
have one doubt. Murthy here.
Yes, please. Yeah.
In the interviews, if they ask for these codes, can we give any general examples? If they ask
Don't
in
give
the
general examples. I gave you the general examples only to make you understand. Okay, don't give general examples. Just in the interviews, just tell whatever is the definition of that, and that should be about it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So some of the important ones I have already told you, right? So please concentrate on those.
Okay.
Okay, you don't need to by heart everything. There are so many status codes that are available, but then you don't need to understand everything. Just by heart on those which I said they are important. Okay, mostly they will not go out of that particular scope in the interviews. Okay,
Yeah.
and even if they ask something, some other thing, and even if you say I don't know, that's perfectly fine. Okay, that is perfectly fine, because that is not something that is really important, and something that is that everybody is expected to know. But whatever that I have told you is important, those are the things that are that everybody is expected to know, especially the performance testers, and you should know them. Okay.
Okay, sure. Got it.
Yeah. All right, guys, looks like Pawan has actually joined. Pawan, are you there? Yes.
Yeah, Shyam.
Yeah. Okay, so I am nearly done. Any other questions, guys?
No, Shyam.
All right, guys. Pawan, you want to add anything?
Yeah, so I'll share the week 1 assessment today.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll get an email ID. You'll get an email regarding the assessment. Okay. So everyone, please attempt the assessment. It's mandatory. Yeah, that's it
Okay.
from my side, Sam. You can stop the recording.
And Pawan, please share the assessment with me as well, please.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I didn't stop the recording.